Hello and welcome to another demonstration. If you're in the Premiere, I'll be in the chat, so if you've got any questions or you just want to say hi, I'll be able to answer you. Today I'm going to be doing monoprinting. I enjoy doing this because each print you do, it's kind of hit and miss whether it works differently each time, and each image is very different. So I'm lucky to have a nice big gel plate. So these are totally reusable. So once you've got one, it can be a bit of an investment, but once you've got one, it will go for years and years and years. Even cleaning it, you don't always need to clean it because each layer adds something to the next printing process. So I'm just taking off the protective plastic layers, which I'm going to put to one side because I will keep them. And you'll see this gel plate is not overly clean because I've used it. So I've taken off the back one as well, which means it now doesn't slip. Sometimes I don't, it depends what I'm doing. So I'm going to do a lot of things backwards. Normally I would clean at the end, but in this case, because this plate is dried, I'm just going to show you what to use to clean a gel plate. And like I say, a lot of people don't clean it that often anyway. Baby wipe, that's a good way to wipe off. You can see there, that's taking off the black that I've been using previously. This is a little tougher. So if that doesn't work, what I have found is good old hand sanitizer. And I'm sure we've got plenty of this around. Then you can just gently clean that off. You can see that's coming. It's taking that off. Like I say, you don't actually need to over clean your plate, each layer. Even though these are pretty tough and pretty indestructible, I don't want to damage it because I've put the cost into it. So I'm making sure I'm not using anything sharp. So it's a kind of a jelly-like feel. You can see how soft and malleable it is. It's quite a funny feeling, but for printing, it's a really useful surface. Right. It's sticky as well. There we go. It's clean enough for me for now. So, like I said, in this demonstration, I'm going to actually do things slightly backwards. So I'm actually going to put on colour first, print that, because I need to let that dry. You can use these jelly plates for pretty much any medium, acrylic, oil. If I'm doing some printing with acrylic, because it dries quite quickly, I will often use a slow dry medium, and that makes it dry a lot slower, and that means printing is a lot easier rather than it sticks quite quickly, especially if I'm doing quite a lot and bits are dried and other bits are wet. So slow dry medium I do use quite a lot of. But in this case, I'm going to be using good old watercolour. And this image, I think it's a vase of artificial flowers that someone's kindly taken for me. But I just love the shapes in this. I don't have to follow it slavishly. What I'm going to do is take some of the shapes, and you'll see as I work around it. But what I want to do is see, this is kind of an experiment, whether if I can print first with colour, let that dry, and then see if I can do it with the black outline. But let's see if it works. Let's peel that off. And I've got lots of different papers to try. Most of the printing I've been doing is on the copy paper because it's thin enough, but I've got a few nice sheets of paper, but I don't know if they're thin enough to be able to push the image through, but that's part of the fun of seeing what happens. So, colour. Let's just add on some blobs of colour. So it does resist in some areas. You'll see here, you're getting a bit of resistance. But I tell you what, when you do print on it, you get a really exciting finish. This is the great thing about printing. It's slightly unpredictable. Well, it's actually very unpredictable, but it's also very pleasing. So got a blue band there on the vase. Let's take a little bit down. Maybe a bit on that side. Got enough green coming down. I'm kind of not touching. Vase, a bit yellow, a bit darker. Take that up on that side. Right, this is the fun bit. So it doesn't look much on there, but this. Now, I know you can be really careful where you put your print. I just tend to drop it on. Your paper, sorry, I just drop it on. Rub my hand. So this is copy paper, and you can see it's buckling, but that's not unexpected. And then look. Ooh. So, see how different that is, the colours there. It's not exactly what I expected, but we can do it again. This is a great thing, it's quick. You can keep trying something new, so I'm going for a stronger colour, bigger areas. I'm going to try a different paper as well. Each one is going to be different and unique. Just make that darker green, but a stronger pigment. Take that up there. Hopefully you'll see what this does. I just need to get it to dry, so a bit of that blue, and let's take that up. The band is there. A bit more colour. The vase. I mean, this is just a kind of a background. I'm going to do all the initial lines later. Right, again, so next paper. This one is a cartridge paper. It's a bit heavier. I think it's a 190. I just want to see if that's any better. It's definitely better than that thin cartridge. But what it picks up, I don't know. Ooh. Yeah, that's a nice paper to use. Look at that. So again, let that dry. Let's do it again. I'm going to do it 4 times because I'm going to try all 4 different papers I've got. And then I can work on all 4 again. And then see which ones come out best. So you say monoprinting, doesn't mean you need to do 1 print. You can do, like I'm doing, multiple prints, but each one will be very different to the next. Each time you do it, you'll learn something about the quality of the paper you're using, what works best. So I'm dabbing it on a bit stronger this time. That's great. And that blue again, let's try a different colour. Let's try it darker. Want a stronger blue. It's kind of a wobbling. Let's try that one. So cartridge paper, this one is Saunders. So it's a 190. So the thinnest I could find. So I'm guessing this will work pretty well, especially with the colour. It's interesting. So that must be a knot surface. I can feel the textures in it. Let's do that once more. Again, load up my brush. And then I've got a unidentified paper. I can't remember what it is. I think, looking at it, it's possibly a pastel paper, because I can see the textures on it, but I'm not sure. You know, when you've got a drawer full of papers that you just don't know what they are. It's fine for drawing on, but you have to find out what they do when you're printing, or painting in this case, because that's exactly what I'm doing, I'm painting. Take it out a little bit. Right, now for the blue. Let's see what happens with this. So now onto this unidentified paper. Shall I use the smooth side of texture? I'll use the smooth side. So that's why I think it's pastel paper. I think it's a pastel paper because of the textured side. Okay. So much better than the copy paper on the crinkling. And it is working because it's picking up the colour. Ooh, big splashes there. Quite wet. So all of those I'm going to use. Just have a quick wipe. Like I say, you don't need to wipe down, but a quick wipe will do. And now I've finished with the colour. But you can see how you can use watercolour and actually create a painting, and then using an appropriate paper, print on and create a monoprint that way. But I'm going to do a couple of processes. So, printing ink. Don't know if there's enough there. Let's put some more out. This is water-based printing ink. So printing ink comes in oil-based and water-based. I'm using it water-based basically because it's easy to clean up. And my roller, I think this is called a brayer. And I'm just going to roll it out. Now, with printing ink, you have to listen to it, which sounds really daft, but you'll feel it. You'll feel when it's rolled out to the right consistency, because you'll hear it. It will sound sticky. Oh, the sound is changing. There you go. You probably can't hear this, but the more you roll, you can hear the change in the sound. And that is when you know it's ready to roll onto your plate. There you go. The sound's right. So I'm just going to put, and I'm not being careful, and even I'm doing this in a random block to add texture, to be honest. And some areas may be blacker than others. And so if I want it really solid black, I would do it an even layer, but I don't. I want it to have a few different textures, a few different darker areas and lighter areas. So first paper is going to be my copy paper, and I just want to show you the idea of what I'm going to do. And I will often do, don't touch it, shouldn't touch it, because that's going to pick up the print. What I'm going to do, where's my biro, is I'm going to do a line print. So just drawing out the shape of the vase. And I'm not doing it precisely, I'm just using line. And there's a leaf, goes over there.
keeping it quite loose. I'm using the image as reference, not slavishly. I think these are even artificial. It doesn't matter. What it's done is it's given me inspiration. I can look at the shape of it, look at shape, see the composition that's already set out for me. I don't have to think about it. And like I say, I'm not doing every single leaf. What I'm doing is thinking about the shape, so it comes up there a little more, and I love that leaf that comes down there, and it's got a leaf that comes out here. So someone's done all the work for me. Nature does it a lot, but in this case this is an artificial leaves, but it's got some great shapes, line, and I can, if I tape to the top, look at it, but I haven't. Look, see there? That's working nicely. Because I've got a line drawing, I don't need to do that again, really. Let's do another leaf. And I might do a continuous line, so you keep your pen on, make your shapes, don't take it off. I can be precise. I could have done a drawing and sketched it down and have a pre-drawn out drawing, but I think this is just much more fun, much more organic, I think you can say. There's some more leaves coming across. There's some leaves behind, so let's fill out this area here. Let's do a little one there. I think I can do another one. Goes behind there. A few out here and make it a little denser. Right. So basically that's a line drawing. You can see how quick that was. I filled it in. I'm also going to fill in a little bit of shadow across there, and I am being careful about when I was doing that. I kept my hand away from the paper because every mark you make, and when you lean on it, you'll make the printing ink will be transferred to your paper. Okay, let's see how that was worked. Really nicely. There you go. That's look just like I'm trying to achieve. See, I'll put it on there, it doesn't matter. You see here, that's where my fingers were. But it's a really effective way and very simple, because I think that's actually really nice as it is. But like I said, I wanted to try something else. I wanted to see by adding colour. Let me try another print while I've got that on. Let's just see what this does. Don't know. I'm mopping up some of the ink before I put more on. What this will do, I don't know. Oh, interesting. So you can see there, it's made a ghost line around it. This is why you don't clean off your plate much very often, because you will get print after print after print and you'll get something different each time. It's a nice surprise. So you've seen how you can just use the black ink to create a really interesting, exciting monoprint. And that's all I was going to show you, to be honest. But I had some ideas. I thought, does it work with watercolour? Can I add colour? Because I could leave that and add colour to it. That's easy. Once that's dried, I can just add colour to it. But this is the thing about these plates, is you can experiment, you can try things, you can put things on it. And I'm sure I've done one before, demonstration, where I've laid buttons on, or I think love hearts, pieces of string, and then printed on that way, took them off, printed again, put more colour on, printed again. And each one very different to the one before, not cleaning the plate in between each layer. But this is just a simple black lined monoprint. But like I say, it got me thinking, can I add colour? What colour? How can I add colour in a printing method? Listening for the stickiness, and then put some more ink on. So you can see how this is great for cards. What you could do is put an image onto some copy paper and stick that onto a card, or like I'm using, we'll see how well it works, some cartridge paper, some Saunders Waterford 190, or some random paper, which I've got a feeling is pastel paper. And you can cut it out, a nice deckled edge or nicely torn edge, and stick that to the card. If your card paper does work, try it. It's all to do with trying things, to be fair. Right, so I have those printed coloured ones. So let's see. So I'm using the colour there, and I'm going to drop that on and do exactly the same. That shouldn't have done that, shouldn't have touched it. Do exactly the same and sketch out. Don't know if it works. What I can do with this one is I can slightly see, because it's not a watercolour paper, I can slightly see where the colour has gone. But I'm working quite blind, to be honest. Don't even know if it's going to go through. I will often do the bigger stems first, just so I can think about composition and balance. I like that one going up there, and then those leaves come off here. There's a nice leaf facing that way. Being quite sketchy, not being overly careful. To be honest, I don't know if it works. I haven't tried it. I knew that the colour went onto paper, but I haven't tried it on this paper. The reason why is because it didn't matter if I had tried it. You don't replicate the same thing again. It's still hit and miss whether it will turn out the same way. So I thought it would be easy just to show you, and we can work through it together, see what works and what doesn't. Don't know. This is the fun bit. Ooh. Very interesting. I like that. So you've seen how that works. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the other papers I printed on to show you, but you don't want to see me drawing it out again. So I'll get on with that and come back, and then I'll show you how they've all turned out. Okay, so there you go. That's all 4 prints done. I was getting a bit looser towards the end, but that doesn't matter. So the first one, I like it, but it was probably a bit too much ink on. So I probably could have done one straight after and with the ink already on there. That one didn't work overly well. I missed the colour, but I couldn't see it from the back. The great thing about this was I could see it from the back. So that was on the paper. That's on pastel paper. This is on the Saunders. So it took the watercolour nicely, but I don't like the finish for the ink, but that's part of printing. Someone else may really love that. One of the better ones. I probably had a little less ink on the gel plate, and I could again see where the colour was through the back of the cartridge paper, so this is just a lightweight cartridge paper. That's worked really well, so really happy with that one. Final one on copy paper, again has worked quite well. Again, I literally did this one, didn't put any more ink on, and then did this one. So also knowing about your layers of ink, and I probably could do a few more and see. It's called monoprinting, so each one is a one-off, but you can do more than one of a similar print, and you get such really nice, interesting effects. So could have just done the line and put colour in, but I think this just makes it that little bit more interesting, and I won't be able to replicate that again, which is the beauty of using monoprinting. So I hope you enjoyed that, and you got a quick introduction into a technique for printing using the gel plate. And join me again soon.